Admiral Marcus Blackwood stood at the viewport of the International Space Station horizon, his weathered face reflecting off the reinforced glass as Earth gleamed below. The date was August 15, 2045, and humanity was about to face its greatest challenge yet. Admiral, we're detecting multiple anomalies at the edge of lunar orbit, Lieutenant Jasmine Rodriguez reported, her fingers flying across the holographic interface. Energy signatures unlike anything we've ever seen. The entire command center fell silent as dozens of tear-shaped vessels materialized from what appeared to be rifts in space itself. Their hulls gleamed with an otherworldly purple sheen that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "All stations, battle stations," Blackwood ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Humanity had prepared for this possibility, but preparation and reality were often worlds apart. The first transmission came moments later, a harsh, guttural voice that seemed to slice through their communication systems. "We are the Nephilim Collective. Your species has been deemed unworthy of its resources. Surrender now, and we will ensure a swift end." Captain Daniel Okoro, commanding the newly commissioned UES Defiant, was the first to respond. "This is Captain Okoro of Earth. We wish to establish peaceful dialogue." His transmission cut off as the lead Nephilim vessel fired a beam of concentrated plasma, vaporizing the Defiant and its crew of 300 in seconds. The next hours were chaos. Earth's combined military forces launched everything they had: missiles, railguns, the few orbital defense platforms they'd managed to construct. The Nephilim ships swatted them aside like insects, their advanced shields barely flickering under the assault. Dr. Naomi Patel, head of Earth's Xenological Research Division, watched in horror from her underground facility in the Himalayas as major cities began falling to the alien assault. "They're not just attacking military targets," she reported to the Emergency Council. "They're systematically destroying our infrastructure, our power grids, our food production facilities." Commander Junwei of the Chinese Space Force led a desperate counterattack with a squadron of experimental fusion-powered fighters. They managed to breach the shields of one smaller Nephilim vessel, proving humanity wasn't entirely defenseless. But the victory was short-lived. Wei and his entire squadron were annihilated moments later by the Nephilim flagship's point defense systems. In the depths of NORAD, General Hassan Ibrahim coordinated what remained of Earth's ground forces. The Nephilim had begun landing troops, towering, crystalline beings that seemed to shimmer and shift in the light. Conventional weapons barely scratched them, but he discovered their weakness to concentrated electromagnetic pulses. "They're not invincible," Ibrahim transmitted to all remaining forces. "Focus on their joint sections with EMP weapons, and whatever happens, keep fighting. Show them humanity won't go quietly." The resistance was fierce but ultimately futile. Within 3 days, every major military installation on Earth's surface had been destroyed or occupied. The Nephilim's technological superiority was overwhelming, their tactics brutal and efficient. But in their arrogance, they made a crucial mistake. They didn't bother to hunt down every survivor, every hidden bunker, every secret research facility. They assumed humanity was broken, that the scattered remnants would eventually die out or submit. Admiral Blackwood, having survived the destruction of the horizon by evacuating to the emergency bunker beneath the Mariana Trench, gathered what remained of Earth's leadership. In a chamber designed to withstand nuclear war, illuminated by emergency lighting, he addressed the grim-faced survivors. "They think they've won," he said, his voice echoing in the cavernous space. "They think they've broken us, but they don't understand humanity. We don't break, we adapt, we survive, and most importantly, we remember." Dr. Patel stepped forward, clutching a tablet containing data collected during the invasion. "Their technology has weaknesses we can exploit. Their shield frequencies can be matched and nullified. Their crystalline troops can be shattered with the right sonic frequencies. We just need time and resources and absolute secrecy." "Then that's what we'll do," General Ibrahim declared, his uniform still covered in dust from his last battle. "We'll go underground, build, plan, prepare. And when we're ready, we'll show the Nephilim why you should never corner a species that spent its entire history perfecting the art of warfare. The remnants of humanity's leadership nodded in agreement. The Nephilim had won the first battle, but the war was far from over. In bunkers and hidden facilities across the globe, the survivors began their work. Project Phoenix was born, and with it, humanity's chance for revenge. The universe had laughed at Earth's primitive defenses, but that laughter would soon turn to screams. Because humanity wasn't just fighting for victory anymore, they were fighting for survival, for revenge, and for the right to prove that humanity would never kneel before any power that sought to destroy them. The real war was just beginning. 5 years had passed since the Nephilim invasion. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice sheet, in a facility known only as the Forge, the sounds of construction never ceased. Dr. Naomi Patel stood before a massive holographic display, watching as the latest prototype of the quantum shield generator underwent stress testing. "Push it to maximum output," she ordered, her voice carrying the weight of countless sleepless nights. The device hummed, creating a barrier that perfectly matched the frequency of Nephilim weapons fire. Unlike their previous attempts, this shield held. Colonel Ryota Tanaka, head of military integration, allowed himself a rare smile. "They'll never expect us to have reversed-engineered their technology so quickly, especially not with the limited resources we have." In another section of the Forge, Commander Alina Volkov supervised the training of pilots in advanced neural interface simulators. The specially designed pods allowed humans to control ships with thought alone, matching the incredible reaction speeds of their crystalline enemies. "Again," she barked as another pilot emerged, shaking from the neural feedback. "The Nephilim don't take breaks, neither do we. Every second we waste is another human death on the surface." The surface, that's what they called the world above now. A world where the Nephilim had established their dominion, where surviving humans were either forced into labor camps or lived as nomads in the ruins of their civilization. But even there, resistance never died. General Ibrahim's guerrilla networks kept the Nephilim occupied, launching precision strikes using electromagnetic pulse weapons. Each attack was carefully planned to appear random, uncoordinated. The illusion of a desperate, dying resistance had to be maintained. In a hidden bay of the Forge, Admiral Blackwood inspected the first completed warship of humanity's new fleet. The UES Phoenix rose before him, its hull incorporating crystalline elements harvested from fallen Nephilim troops. The ship represented everything Project Phoenix stood for: humanity's ability to adapt, to learn, to rise from its own ashes. "How many ships can we construct with our current resources?" Blackwood asked Dr. Victor Rossi, the project's chief engineer. 15 capital ships of this class, plus support vessels," Rossi replied, his Italian accent thickened by exhaustion. "But each one will be worth 10 of their ships. The neural interfaces, the quantum shields, the plasma weapons, we've improved on their own technology." The real breakthrough had come from Dr. Patel's xenobiology team. They had discovered that the Nephilim's crystalline structure, while incredibly resilient, had a fatal flaw. Their bodies resonated at specific frequencies that could be weaponized. "The sonic disruptors are ready for mass production," Dr. Patel reported during the weekly command briefing. "One shot will shatter their ground forces, but more importantly, we've adapted the technology to work against their capital ships. Their hulls use the same crystalline matrix as their bodies." Project Phoenix had grown beyond a mere military initiative. It had become humanity's crucible, forging disparate survivors into a unified force. Scientists who once competed for grants now worked side by side. Soldiers who once pointed guns at each other now trained together, united by a common enemy. In the residential section of the Forge, Lieutenant Rodriguez, now Chief of Communications, coordinated with resistance cells worldwide. The Nephilim never realized that every attack they repelled, every rebel they crushed, provided vital combat data for Project Phoenix's systems. "Their overconfidence is their weakness," Rodriguez noted during a strategy session. "They still think we're primitive, fighting with whatever scraps we can salvage. They have no idea we've been studying them, learning their weaknesses, preparing for the day we strike back. The day was approaching faster than anyone had expected. The neural interface pilots were exceeding all expectations. The quantum shields were holding against simulated Nephilim weapons, and the sonic disruptor technology had proven devastatingly effective in controlled tests. But success brought its own challenges. As Project Phoenix neared completion, tensions rose among the leadership. Some, like Colonel Tanaka, advocated for immediate action. Others, including Dr. Patel, urged caution, arguing that one premature move could doom humanity forever. Admiral Blackwood made the final decision during a tense meeting in the Forge's command center. "We strike on the 5th anniversary of the invasion," he declared, his voice cutting through the debate. "The Nephilim believe in symbolism, in demonstrating their superiority. They'll be celebrating their victory, their guards will be down, and that's when we show them exactly what humanity is capable of." The announcement galvanized the entire facility. In the shipyards, construction crews worked double shifts to complete the fleet. In the training centers, pilots pushed themselves to the absolute limits of human endurance. In the laboratories, scientists refined and perfected their weapons. Dr. Patel stood with Admiral Blackwood in the observation deck, watching as the UES Phoenix underwent its final systems check. "Do you think we're ready?" she asked, voicing the doubt that plagued everyone's minds. "We have to be," Blackwood replied, his expression hardened by years of planning this moment. "The surface camps are reaching their breaking point. Every day we wait, more humans die or lose hope. We've spent 5 years preparing for this moment. Now it's time to remind the galaxy why humanity should never be underestimated." Throughout the Forge, final preparations began. Operation Thunderstrike would commence in 1 week. Humanity's revenge was about to begin, and the Nephilim would learn that their greatest mistake wasn't attacking Earth. It was leaving enough survivors to fight back. The moment of truth arrived with devastating precision. As the Nephilim celebrated their 5th year of dominion over Earth, their sensors detected nothing unusual in the Antarctic region. Their orbital platforms registered only the usual ice storms and magnetic disturbances that had plagued their equipment since the invasion. They never saw the UES Phoenix coming. The flagship of humanity's reborn fleet burst from its underground hangar, quantum shields already engaged, its crystalline-enhanced hull reflecting the aurora australis in a spectacular display of light and power. 14 identical vessels followed, each commanded by pilots linked directly to their ships through neural interfaces. Admiral Blackwood stood on the Phoenix's bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. "All ships, execute jump sequence on my mark." The fleet had been equipped with reverse-engineered Nephilim fold drive technology, allowing them to traverse vast distances instantly. 3, 2, 1, mark. Reality twisted as 15 human warships disappeared from the Antarctic skis, only to materialize seconds later in high orbit above the Nephilim's primary command center in what was once Beijing. The alien celebration turned to chaos as human vessels appeared seemingly out of nowhere, their weapons already charged and targeting systems locked. "This is Admiral Marcus Blackwood of the United Earth Defense Force," his transmission cut through every Nephilim frequency. "5 years ago, you came to our world uninvited. Today, we return the favor." The Phoenix opened fire first, its sonic disruptor beams striking the nearest Nephilim cruiser. The effect was instantaneous. The crystalline vessel literally shattered, breaking apart into millions of glittering fragments that rained down through the atmosphere. Commander Alina Volkov led the first fighter wing, her neural interface allowing her to control her craft with thought alone. "Razor Squadron, engage target pattern Delta. Show them what Earth's children can do." Her fighters moved with impossible precision, weaving through enemy fire as if they could predict it. The Nephilim responded with characteristic arrogance, launching waves of their own fighters. But this time, something was different. Their weapons splashed harmlessly against quantum shields calibrated to match their exact frequencies. Their crystalline troops, deployed to repel boarders, found themselves facing weapons designed specifically to exploit their structural weaknesses. In the Phoenix's tactical center, Lieutenant Rodriguez coordinated with resistance cells worldwide. "Ground teams are engaging enemy strongholds in London, New York, and Tokyo. The Nephilim are splitting their forces just as predicted." The battle for Beijing became a testament to humanity's ingenuity. Colonel Tanaka's ground forces, equipped with portable sonic disruptors, engaged the Nephilim garrison directly. The crystalline warriors that had once seemed invincible shattered like glass under the precisely tuned frequencies. Dr. Patel monitored the battle from her station on the Phoenix, analyzing enemy responses and adjusting weapon frequencies in real time. "They're adapting," she warned as Nephilim ships began modifying their shield harmonics. "But not fast enough. We've had 5 years to study every aspect of their technology." The tide turned definitively when the second phase of Operation Thunderstrike commenced. Hidden resistance cells worldwide activated EMP devices planted near key Nephilim facilities. The coordinated electromagnetic pulse knocked out their secondary command and control systems, leaving their forces fragmented and disorganized. "Press the advantage," Blackwood ordered as the Phoenix engaged the Nephilim flagship directly. "Show them no mercy, they gave us none." The neural-linked pilots proved to be humanity's greatest advantage. Their reaction times, enhanced by direct mental connection to their ships, allowed them to outmaneuver the Nephilim's automated defense systems. Ships that had once seemed unstoppable fell one by one to precisely coordinated attacks. In the streets of Beijing, General Ibrahim led a column of armored vehicles toward the Nephilim's central control spire. "Remember," he transmitted to his forces, "we're not just fighting for revenge. We're fighting for every human they've enslaved, for every city they've destroyed, for every dream they tried to shatter." The spire's defenses were formidable, but they had been designed to repel attacks from a primitive species. They stood no chance against weapons reverse-engineered from their own technology. Ibrahim's forces breached the outer perimeter within hours, fighting their way floor by floor toward the command center. Above the city, the space battle reached its climax as the Phoenix engaged the Nephilim flagship in direct combat. The alien vessel was massive, easily 3 times the size of its human counterpart, but size wasn't everything. "Target their primary resonance chamber," Dr. Patel advised, her fingers flying across holographic displays. "Their entire ship is one giant crystalline matrix. Disrupt the core frequency." "And the whole thing comes apart," Blackwood finished. "All ships concentrate fire on these coordinates." The combined firepower of Earth's fleet struck the Nephilim flagship at its heart. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like a crystal glass shattering under the right musical note, the massive vessel began to break apart. As their flagship disintegrated, the remaining Nephilim forces fell into disarray. Some attempted to retreat, only to find their fold drives mysteriously malfunctioning, courtesy of Dr. Rossi's cyber warfare team. Others fought to the end, their crystalline ships adding to the debris field forming around Earth. By sunset, Beijing had been liberated. Similar reports began coming in from cities worldwide as resistance forces, armed with sonic weapons, rose up against their weakened oppressors. The Nephilim's celebration of conquest had become humanity's declaration of independence. Admiral Blackwood stood on the Phoenix's observation deck, watching as liberation forces secured the ruins of the Nephilim Command Center. "Send word to all human survivors," he ordered. "Tell them Earth is fighting back. Tell them Operation Thunderstrike was just the beginning." The message spread like wildfire through hidden communities and labor camps. Humanity had struck back, and the Nephilim had bled. The war was far from over, but for the first time in 5 years, hope wasn't just a dream. It was a reality backed by quantum shields and sonic weapons. The universe had laughed when the Nephilim invaded Earth. Now, it watched in stunned silence as humanity demonstrated exactly why that laughter had been premature. 3 months after Operation Thunderstrike, the war had reached a stalemate. While humanity had liberated significant portions of Earth, the Nephilim had called in reinforcements from their empire's outer territories. The skies above Earth had become a graveyard of crystalline and metal debris, a testament to the ongoing battle for survival. Admiral Blackwood stood in the war room of the UES Phoenix, studying tactical displays with his senior staff. Intelligence gathered from captured Nephilim databases had revealed a troubling truth. Earth was just one of many worlds under their control. "They've enslaved 17 other species," Dr. Patel reported, projecting images of various alien races. "Some for centuries. We're the first to successfully rebel, and that's made us a symbol. The other enslaved worlds are watching." Commander Volkov, fresh from a squadron deployment, stepped forward. Our latest reconnaissance indicates they're gathering their forces at their primary staging area in the Proxima Centauri system. This isn't just about Earth anymore. They mean to make an example of us. The tactical displays showed thousands of Nephilim vessels converging on Proxima Centauri. It was the largest fleet humanity had ever witnessed, dwarfing even the invasion force that had initially conquered Earth. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice cut through the tension. Admiral, we're receiving transmissions from multiple slave worlds. They're offering support, ships, weapons, intelligence. The Nephilim's grip is weakening, and they know it. Dr. Rossi had been analyzing the data from their alien allies. Their ships are different from ours, but they all have one thing in common. They've never been able to effectively counter Nephilim technology. Until now. A plan began to form. The Nephilim were gathering their forces, presenting both a threat and an opportunity. A single decisive battle could turn the tide not just for Earth, but for every enslaved species in the galaxy. Admiral Blackwood made his decision. Contact our new allies, tell them to hold their positions, but be ready. The Nephilim expect us to wait to defend. Instead, we're taking the fight to them. The next week saw frantic preparation as Earth's fleet was modified for deep space combat. Dr. Patel and her team worked around the clock, integrating new insights from their alien allies into their weapon systems. Colonel Tanaka trained his ground forces for zero-gravity combat, knowing that the coming battle might involve boarding actions. The plan was audacious. While the Nephilim gathered their armada, humanity would strike at their staging area with everything they had. The enslaved worlds would rise up simultaneously, preventing the Nephilim from calling in further reinforcements. This is our moment, General Ibrahim addressed the combined fleet crews. Not just for Earth, but for every species that has suffered under Nephilim dominion, we show them that the age of crystals is over. The battle began at dawn, Earth time. The human fleet, now numbering 30 vessels thanks to captured and rebuilt ships, emerged from fold space directly in the heart of the Nephilim armada. The enemy had expected an attack, but not like this. All ships execute Battle Plan Omega, Blackwood commanded. The human fleet split into predetermined groups, each targeting specific classes of Nephilim vessels. Commander Volkov's fighters swarmed through the chaos, their neural-linked pilots dancing through the crystalline maze of enemy ships. The Nephilim responded with overwhelming force, their ships forming into their traditional crystal lattice battle formation. But humanity had learned from every engagement, and this time they were ready. Now, Dr. Rossi, Blackwood ordered. The engineer activated their secret weapon, a modified version of the Nephilim's own resonance technology. Every human ship began broadcasting a specific frequency, creating a web of sonic energy that traversed the vacuum of space through the crystalline structures of the enemy vessels themselves. The effect was catastrophic. The Nephilim's battle formation, designed to strengthen their ships through crystalline resonance, became their undoing. Fractures appeared in their hulls, spreading like spiderwebs across their once impervious fleet. All ships concentrate fire on their flagship, Blackwood commanded as the massive vessel began showing signs of structural failure. End this. The UES Phoenix led the charge, its quantum shields flaring as it absorbed enemy fire. Neural-linked pilots coordinated their attacks with machine precision, their sonic weapons striking at exactly the right frequencies to shatter Nephilim ships into clouds of glittering debris. In the midst of the battle, Lieutenant Rodriguez picked up new signatures on long-range sensors. Admiral, multiple contacts emerging from fold space. It's the slave worlds, they're joining the fight. Ships of various designs and technologies appeared around the battlefield, their weapons targeting the already struggling Nephilim fleet. Species that had been enemies under Nephilim rule now fought side by side, united by the opportunity for freedom that humanity had given them. The Nephilim flagship, a behemoth of crystalline engineering, made one final attempt to rally its forces. Its weapons lashed out with unprecedented power, destroying 3 human vessels and countless allied ships. But it was too late. All ships final barrage, Blackwood ordered. Let's finish this. The combined firepower of Earth's fleet and their alien allies struck the Nephilim flagship. For a moment, the massive vessel seemed to sing, its crystalline structure resonating with the energy of thousands of weapons. Then, like a symphony reaching its crescendo, it shattered. The destruction of their flagship broke the Nephilim's will to fight. Their remaining ships attempted to flee, only to be hunted down by the very species they had once enslaved. The battle had become a revolution, and the galaxy would never be the same. As the dust settled, Admiral Blackwood received reports from across known space. The enslaved worlds had overthrown their Nephilim overlords. The empire that had stood for centuries had been broken in a single day. Standing on the Phoenix's bridge, Blackwood watched as representatives from the liberated species began arriving for what would become known as the Freedom Conclave. Humanity had not just won its own freedom, it had sparked a revolution that would reshape the galaxy. "We did it," Dr. Patel said softly, standing beside him. "We actually did it." "No," Blackwood replied, watching as ships of different species began coordinating cleanup efforts. "We all did it together, and now the real work begins." The Battle of Proxima Centauri marked more than just a military victory. It was the moment when humanity proved that determination, ingenuity, and the will to fight for freedom could overcome any obstacle. The galaxy would never again underestimate the species that had turned its oppressors' greatest strength into their ultimate weakness. 1 year after the Battle of Proxima Centauri, Earth had changed beyond recognition. The ruins of Nephilim occupation were being cleared away, replaced by structures that blended human architecture with advanced alien technology. In orbit, ships from dozens of species moved through carefully coordinated lanes, a testament to the new era of cooperation. Admiral Blackwood stood in the newly constructed Galactic Unity Center in Geneva, preparing to address representatives from over 20 spacefaring civilizations. The massive chamber, built from recovered Nephilim crystals and Earth metals, symbolized the fusion of technologies and cultures that defined the post-war galaxy. "The final Nephilim holdout was eliminated yesterday," Commander Volkov reported, her neural implants now standard issue for Space Force pilots across multiple species. "Their remaining forces have either surrendered or fled beyond known space." Dr. Patel, now heading the Interspecies Technology Exchange Program, pulled up holographic displays showing the progress of reconstruction efforts across formerly occupied worlds. "The liberation technology we developed is being shared with all member worlds. No species will ever be defenseless against crystalline weapons again." The changes went far beyond military matters. Lieutenant Rodriguez, promoted to Chief of Interstellar Communications, coordinated with alien diplomats to establish new protocols for peaceful contact between civilizations. The mistakes that had led to the Nephilim's rise would not be repeated. "We're receiving applications from 30 more species seeking membership in the Alliance," she reported. "Everyone wants to be part of what we're building." Colonel Tanaka, leading the new Galactic Defense Force training program, had been working with military leaders from various species. "The integration is going better than expected. Each species brings unique strengths to our combined forces. The Arcturians' energy manipulation, the Centaurians' quantum computing together were stronger than any empire." Admiral Blackwood took his place at the podium as representatives filed into the chamber. Among them were species that had been bitter enemies under Nephilim rule, now working together to build something new. He saw the Syrians, a species of energy beings who had provided crucial intelligence during the final battle. The Rigelians, master engineers who had helped perfect the quantum shield technology. The Vega Collective, whose biotechnology was revolutionizing medicine across known space. 1 year ago, Blackwood began, his voice carrying to every corner of the chamber, "we stood together against an enemy that thought itself invincible. The Nephilim believed that their technological superiority made them gods. They forgot that true strength comes not from the weapons we wield, but from the bonds we forge." Dr. Rossi, monitoring the chamber's advanced systems, couldn't help but smile at the irony. The very crystals that had once symbolized oppression now powered the lights illuminating this gathering of free peoples. "Humanity did not win this war alone," Blackwood continued. "We simply proved that resistance was possible. Every species here contributed to our shared victory, and now we have the opportunity and the responsibility to build something that has never existed before, a true galactic community of equals." The reconstruction efforts were proving his words true. Earth cities were being rebuilt with technology shared by grateful allies. Humans worked alongside aliens in research facilities, military installations, and civilian projects. The neural interface technology that had given humanity an edge in battle was now being adapted for peaceful purposes, allowing direct communication between different species. General Ibrahim, now leading the Alliance's Rapid Response Force, had seen firsthand how former enemies could become allies. His teams, composed of members from multiple species, stood ready to defend any world from aggression. The days of standing alone against invasion were over. "But our work is not finished," Blackwood declared. "The galaxy is vast, and there are still those who would follow the Nephilim's path of conquest. That is why we are here today, to formalize the Galactic Alliance Charter." The Charter was a revolutionary document, establishing not just military cooperation but cultural exchange, technological sharing, and mutual defense. More importantly, it enshrined the principles that had led to victory: unity in diversity, strength through cooperation, and the fundamental right of all species to determine their own destiny. Dr. Patel's team had made another breakthrough, one that would change the galaxy forever. "We've managed to adapt the Nephilim's fold drive technology for mass transportation," she announced. "Distance will no longer be a barrier between worlds. Any member of the Alliance can reach any other world within hours." The implications were staggering. Trade routes that once took months could be traversed in moments. Cultural exchange would flourish as species could easily visit each other's worlds. The galaxy was becoming smaller, but also richer and more interconnected. As representatives signed the charter, Blackwood reflected on how far they had come. Earth, once a primitive world easily conquered by the Nephilim, was now the heart of a new galactic civilization. Humanity, dismissed as weak and primitive, had proven that innovation, determination, and the willingness to unite with others could overcome any obstacle. "We will remember the cost of this victory," he said in closing. "The lives lost, the world scarred, the years of oppression. But we will also remember what we gained, not just freedom but understanding, not just allies but friends, not just victory but hope." The chamber erupted in applause, the sound of dozens of different species celebrating together. Outside, Earth's night sky sparkled not just with stars, but with the lights of ships and stations representing the combined achievement of multiple civilizations working in harmony. The universe had once laughed at Earth. Now it watched in wonder as humanity led the way into a new age of peace, prosperity, and possibility. The war was over, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. For in uniting to defeat the Nephilim, the galaxy's free peoples had discovered something greater than victory. They had discovered that together, they could achieve things that no single species could accomplish alone. And that was a lesson worth any price.